Alright, so here's proof of life for build number 93. And this is the fastest build. I believe it was 3 days from order to ship date. But here is your 1088 and XEL. A standard lid for the H80 box. The standard backplane for DVI. So a couple of things you're looking at here. This is your disc swap button. We'll look at that a little later. Your joy port 2, joy port 1. This is PS2 mouse, the green, and PS2 keyboard, the purple. The multicolored cable is plugged into your S-video port. This is your composite video, or just RCA video. This is your DVI. Right now I've got it hooked up to a DVI to HDMI converter and to this 42-inch TV. This is your legacy SIO. This is your SIO to PC, just a micro USB. Be careful with these. I had a heck of a time finding cables that work with the SIO to USB, just because I think there's so many variations on cables, whether they charge, whether they are fully wired, things like that. So once you get a cable that works, don't use it for anything else. Power supply, compact flash. And so what I'm going to do here is, first things first, I'm just going to try a little cartridge. And as you know, it says cart front, so that means the label goes to the front. Just goes in here like this. Okay, going to press power on. You're going to see the splash screen and beef drop. You will also notice that you get it simultaneously on the DVI. So this is set to S video right here. We'll change it here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I want this, which is composite. And so it's looking a little grainier, but again, it's better than stock video on 800XL and a little better than stock video on an Atari 800, just for the composite. The S video, definitely better. So let's put that back there. And then it's still showing the DVI. I'm not going to film that because you can't see the 1088 at the same time. Okay. So one of the things this also allows us to work on or play with is the joystick, which is plugged in here. So I'm gonna do it. Okay, so as you can tell, the joystick works even if I don't play the game that well. But you get the point. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this off here and pull the cartridge out. And then I'm going to boot this back up again. Okay. Okay, so my compact flash card is in there, so I've got it set up to load a few things. But as you can tell, everything's set up. I've got a wireless keyboard back behind the camera here. It's just your standard looking wireless keyboard. This particular model, LabTech PS2, works very nicely. Make sure you get the LabTech PS2 multimedia keyboard, not the USB one, because the USB one doesn't work. So let's look at a couple of things. Spardos obviously has a time date line, and as you can tell, the time date line has been set. Oh, trash! Oh no! Okay. See, that's what I get for trying to move the camera while describing things. Alright, so a couple of things. F12 gets you into your configuration screen. This first screen is where you're going to set most of the most important things of the 1088. So the first one is system RAM. What do you want the RAM to be? Do you want it to be a 1 meg Rambo expansion? Do you want it to be stock 64K? Do you want it to be a 320K RAM? Do you want it to be a 576 CompuShop? Certain demos and certain programs want there to be specific upgrades, so this allows you to change that. I leave the default at a 1 meg Rambo. You have different operating systems. The XL is your standard, but you could also change this to an 800 B ROM or OS. It's not going to let you run PAL programs unless those PAL programs don't need the PAL GTIA and the PAL Antic and the PAL Color Burst Crystal. So probably not going to do anything except run past the system check and then crash. However, 1088 is set up. All you have to do is replace the GTIA and the Antic with PAL versions and shift the jumper from NTSC to PAL, and you've got a PAL machine. It's very cool. You also have Command Line OS, the XEGS OS, but I leave it defaulted to the XL. Atari Basic is the default, but you could also have Altura. You could have the Atari Assembler Editor, CineAssembler Editor. Basic state is how does Basic operate? Is it default? In other words, if you press Option, it'll turn it off, and if you leave Option unpressed, it'll come on, or do you want it always disabled? Okay. This is grayed out because there's no XEGS ROM active. Sparta-DOS is enabled by default. The loader we'll talk about in a little bit. And this here turns an 8K cartridge on or off if it's sitting in the cartridge slot. So you can leave cartridges attached, but still be able to boot to Sparta-DOS or whatever system you want to boot. The one thing I want to show you here, though, is the graphical OS. I'm going to enable this. That will automatically disable Sparta-DOS. I'm going to press B. It's going to boot, save, and boot the system with the new defaults. And it's going to boot into this graphical OS. Now it looks pretty good with S-Video, but it looks really good with DVI. Really, really good. The reason why I want to boot you into that is because this brings into play this mouse select button. And so this mouse select button, there's a little button right here, green and red. Red is port 2, and so it's going to set the mouse for port 2, which I've got a mouse right here, just a wireless mouse. And as you can tell, doesn't do a lot right now, but it does do things like profiler, which is kind of neat. And a little notepad. Here goes Jotter. So, what I do now is I press F12 again to get out of this. And then I go down and I enable Sparta-DOS. That automatically turns the GOS off. And then let's go play with other stuff. You can set the date and time here, but it's really easier if you set it from the command line. Let's... Okay, your PBI BIOS is enabled. I've got your hard disk enabled, so you just need to get a compact flash. If you want to set the drive 1 to redirect somewhere else, you can change this here. And if you want to write protect your hard drive, there's also a hard drive refresh button that you can install. You don't have a dual CF drive, so that's disabled there. High-speed I/O is set up for physical disks and the SIO to PC. And it's set up to do sound for the SIO, ATRs, and the hard drives. And then this just tells you about your system. Different things to enable. The joystick here is not disabling the joystick, it's disabling joystick input from the menu. You can change the colors here if you want. I've got them set to 8 just because that's the default that I installed. This is for Rapidus if you ever want to install Rapidus. And then all of these bracketed keys will be read at any place on the menu. So wherever you are in the configuration screen. So what I want to do is I want to press L and I want to save changes. I'm going to go into the loader because this will show us different things about the proof of life. So I mentioned that we would show the disk swap button later. And so that's one of the things I want to do right now. And so the disk swap button is allow you to load multiple disk games off of ATRs that are on your compact flash card. So first thing you do is you make sure that you have a map which tells the loader or SpartaDOS where to find the next file, and then you load that up. Okay? So I'm going to press start, which is F5. You can see it's loading disk 1. Now, it wants disk 2, so how do we tell it to the disk 2 is loaded? We go right here, we press this button, that LED will light up. That tells the system that, hey, it should look at the next file as soon as I press enter. So I'm going to press enter. There you go. Okay, so all that's been set. Okay, one of the things I want to go through now is just to make sure that legacy SIO works. So we're going to look at the A drive here and do a directory. And it sees it. And the A drive is right here. Okay. I'm going to do a power cycle because once you've been in the loader, coming in and out of the loader, you want to make sure that everything's cleared off. No VBXE. A directory. Okay, a couple of things that you may have noticed. Let's do this again. Directory. I'm going to press enter. See, what you may have noticed is these lights here light up when there's SIO access. You also saw the compact flash light up because my path is set to that. So it's going to search the hard drives before it searches the directory itself. Okay? Let's see here. The next thing I want to do is show you SIO2PC. And the SIO2PC is hooked up right here. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change it to I've got a little Mac Mini here that I use to run things, and then I'm also running Windows in emulation. But what I've got right here, this is Respect, R-E-S-P-E-Q-T. You can see it right there. They've got a Mac version and the Windows version, but the Windows version seems to be updated more recently. And this is where you can load files off of your computer. And so what I've done there is I've loaded drive 3 and drive 4, or C. I'm going to do a directory there. See? Let's do that again. directory. Okay, pretty cool, huh? So, Legacy SIO works, SIO to PC works, RCA, the mouse works, the keyboard works, Legacy SIO, DVI, SIO to PC, Compact Flash. The mouse select button is set for 2, and that should stay through shipping. Only use this power supply. It looks like that, and I'll put it in a box. But other than that, you are good to go, and I hope you enjoy your machine.